You can have your grandkids stay the night. So that's another concern people have. They're like, I love having my grandkids come and stay over. Well, they can come and stay with you. Some even have playgrounds or kid-friendly areas. They can go in the pool with you. Now, some may have restrictions on hours where it's like family time hours and then also adult-only hours. Just, again, depends on each community. Welcome to Aging in Style with Lori Williams, the podcast all about finding the silver lining no matter what life throws your way. I'm Lori Williams, an award-winning senior living expert, author, educator, and caregiver to my husband, Mark. Join me as I share insights, tips, and personal stories to help you navigate the world of senior housing, discover ways to pay for care, advocate for your loved ones, and most importantly, learn how to thrive, not just survive, as you age. Hi, welcome to Aging in Style. I'm your host, Lori Williams, and I'm so glad you have joined us today. So I have worked in senior living for over 18 years. I've worked in communities and I've worked with the placement service and with my own service. And there are some myths that just still float around out there that I think a lot of older adults, it causes them lots of fear when it comes to moving to senior living. So we're going to address those fears today. And we're talking about, when we're talking senior housing, we're only going to be addressing two types of senior housing on this podcast episode. So we're going to be talking about active aging senior apartments, which are 55 plus or 62 plus, depending on the community. And these are basically apartments. You don't get meals or anything included. They're just apartments for seniors. And then the second type would be all-inclusive independent living. And this type of senior housing includes your meals, usually 2 to 3 meals. Some may have full kitchens, some just kitchenettes. There's a lot of variables when it comes to senior housing. So these are the only two we're going to talk about. There's also assisted living and memory care and residential care homes. But for the sake of this topic and time and what we're talking about, it's just going to be the really more independent type of living. So what happens is we have people who just completely are opposed to making a move to senior living because they think they're just giving up their independence completely. And that's not true. Because while you may be giving up some things, there are some really great things that you stand to gain. So I want to say first that I totally understand most people want to stay in their homes as long as possible. I get it. I feel the same way, but knowing what's out there, I know that sometimes it makes sense to move to senior living. So the tough part is, yes, you are going to give up some things when you leave your home. The number one thing I think is the emotional bond that we sort of form with our houses, especially if we have lived in our home for 30, 40, 50 years. I've lived in my house for almost 28 years, and I am attached to my house. But here are some of the other things you will say adios to when you give up your home. Yard work. So no more mowing or weeding or fixing those broken sprinklers. Now, I do have a service to come and do my lawn, but it adds up. And those sprinklers every spring, I don't know what happens. I guess maybe from a freeze or whatever. Every spring when I turn my sprinklers back on, I have like a couple of geysers just shooting up like we're in Yellowstone or something. So it's crazy. So I always have to call someone to come fix it because I don't know how to fix those types of things. And if you regularly listen to the podcast, you may know that my husband is severely disabled due to strokes that he suffered Christmas Day 2022. So all of these things he used to fix now are on me. And there's a lot of women out there who are in the same type of position as I am, or maybe widows. And so speaking for myself, I so appreciate all the things my husband did because I didn't realize until they're on me how much he was doing. So you've got the yard work that you can say bye-bye to, house maintenance, a leaky roof. We get hail here. I'm in the Dallas area. We get hail on a regular basis. Air condition, breaking. And of course, the very worst time would be June or July here in Texas. And guess what? That happened to me last year. I had to replace my downstairs unit, which was the big unit for the house. And it was, we won't even talk about how expensive it was, but it was expensive. And the endless to-do list, right? I mean, there's always something. The fence, something's happened to the fence, the dishwasher, the refrigerator. I mean, it's unending. So when you move into senior living, you're saying bye-bye to that. Loneliness and isolation. And a lot of people don't really talk about this, but staying in your home can get lonely if you're always by yourself, especially if you're not involved with a group of people. If you're not going to a senior center, you're not in a church group, or, just have family nearby that spends time with you. And there's the additional challenge of, as we get older, driving can become more difficult. You may not be able to drive at all, or maybe you have night vision, which a lot of older people have, and it makes it difficult to drive at night. Cooking and cleaning. I don't know about y'all, but I would happily say goodbye to cooking and cleaning. So no more spending hours in your kitchen unless you want to, because a lot of all the senior apartments will have a full kitchen, and some of the all-inclusive independent living will have full kitchens. It just depends, because when you go into the independent living, you're getting 2 to 3 meals a day. So you don't necessarily need that kitchen. So these are kind of things to think about once you begin making a plan to consider moving to senior living. So it all sounds pretty nice, right? So you're giving up yard work, house maintenance, loneliness and isolation, and cooking and cleaning. Not a bad thing. But what are you going to gain? So what do you gain by moving to senior living? Well, depending on the community you choose, and let me tell you, again, this is going to depend on where you live, but I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it seems like every week I hear or see a new community being built. And some of them, my gosh, I mean, they look like resorts, like 5-star resorts. So many choices. And that's what I love, that there's so much choice, especially in a big metropolitan area. There are some that have villas. They call them cottages. Some that are, just like towered, like a regular apartment type thing, or they look like a hotel. There's some that are older and more homey. There's some that are older ones that they're upgrading them and creating the colors that are popular right now. So there's so much variety out there. There's so much to choose from. So instead of worrying about the home repairs and things, you end up gaining a beautiful home that could feel like a resort. I said some of the modern ones, they have the fitness centers, pools, gourmet dining, even spas. They have, all the bells and whistles. You can also bring your pet. And this is something that really stops people from even considering moving into senior housing, is because they have a dog or a cat that they love with all their heart and soul, which I completely get. I have a golden retriever that, if you follow me at all on social media, she is the love of my life, and my kids think that I love her more than them, and I don't. No, I don't. I love them all. But I totally get it. Having an animal, having a furry little friend, that's huge for people. That gives you a sense of purpose, and it helps with loneliness and all of the things. So you can bring your dog or cat. I just want to put this disclaimer out there, that there are some size restrictions and breed restrictions. It depends on the community. A lot of times they will do an interview with your pet. I would say dogs more than cats, because cats are just different. Dogs can be really, noisy and barky and that sort of thing. So it just depends on the dog and how well behaved your dog is. I think all of those things kind of help. So also, these communities not only welcome your furry little loved one, but they have pet-friendly walking trails and dog parks. And I have been in some that have a whole room where you can bathe your pet. And so that for me would be awesome, because you don't have to try and wrangle a dog into the shower or put him in your sink. If it's a small dog, you have an actual area that, is a nice large area that's not going to kill your back trying to bathe them. So it's like a real dog grooming kind of area, which is pretty cool. And some of them even have groomers mobile groomers who will come out and groom your dogs, which I think that would be super cool. I would like that. Moving into senior housing, the other thing you're going to gain is more time with your family and grandkids. And yes, they can visit. They can stay for dinner if you're in an independent living that serves meals. You can enjoy all the amenities the community has to offer. A lot of them have movie theaters. So that's a really fun thing to go watch a movie with the grandkids, maybe put on a Disney movie. Nemo. There's probably other ones. My kids are older, so Nemo is the one that just popped into my head. But you can do that with the grandkids, and what a fun thing to do. You can have your grandkids stay the night. So that's another concern people have. They're like, I love having my grandkids come and stay over. Well, they can come and stay with you. Some even have playgrounds or kid-friendly areas. They can go in the pool with you. Now, some may have restrictions on hours where it's like family time hours and then also adult-only hours. Just, again, depends on each community. You have the freedom to come and go. And this is a question people ask me all the time. They're like, well, will I be able to leave? Yes, you're going to senior living. You are not going to prison. You can go visit your friends. You can travel. You can go on vacations and not worry who's watching the house. There's a lot of people who love the active aging 55 plus because they're at an age where they've maybe retired, or they may still be working some, but they embrace this lock and leave lifestyle where they are traveling maybe a couple of weeks each month, and they don't have to worry about a house. Everything is contained. Their stuff is in their apartment. It's safe. It's secure. And they're off to Europe or wherever they may be going, just enjoying their life. You also gain, by moving to senior housing, a built-in social life. So no more sitting at home wondering what you're going to do. You have access to all kinds of activities. So if you're super social, this is great for you. If you're not super social, it's still good for you. You don't have to go to all the things. I mean, there's activity calendars where you could be busy from sunup to sundown, but you certainly don't have to participate in all of the events. There's happy hours, there's concerts, there's crafts, there's book clubs. You could even meet with just maybe make a couple of friends and go have happy hour together in your apartment or their apartment, but no one has to worry about driving home, which is kind of nice. Working in senior living as long as I have, I remember very clearly the first time when I started working in senior living was over 18 years ago in an independent living community. And I remember one of the first ladies I moved in, she said, Lori, I wish I had done this sooner. And she was in her 80s. And I was just like, oh, that makes me so happy that you are so happy to be here. But she was not an isolated case. Everyone I have moved into senior living, into a senior apartment, independent living, have said that to me. I just wish I had done it sooner, because now they have all of these friends, all of these things to do. They don't have the worry of the house, and it just leads to having a better quality of life. Now, I do want to just say, like, if you're going to assisted living, memory care, same thing. You are going to have a better quality of life. But once you go to assisted living, memory care, care home, there are care needs involved. It's definitely different than if you're going to a senior apartment or into an all-inclusive independent living. I do want to say, though, that there are people in senior apartments and in independent living who maybe need a little care, and you can always bring home care in to help you wherever you are, just like you would in your own home, because this is your home now. So there are people who are in independent living and they needed meals, but they also have a little trouble remembering their medications. So there are services that you pay extra for, but they will come and take care of your medications for you. Or, for example, maybe you had surgery, you went through rehab, but you're home now, but you still need a little help. And you can hire them to come in and help you, say, with bathing or taking your meds or whatever it may be for your case. So those are the benefits of senior living that I feel like a lot of people get caught up in the scary thing that they feel like they're losing out where they're actually gaining. And I think if you kind of turn your thinking around, you'll see that. And so I have a challenge for you. If you're listening to this podcast, I challenge you to go and look at a senior living community in your area. Now, if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, give me a call. My team and I would be happy to help you figure out one that, or a few, if you want to see a few, that are going to really fit what you're looking for. And when I say that, fit your budget, kind of what your vibe is, what you want, and the location you're looking in. And we would be happy to find that for you and schedule a tour so you can go in, check it out. No commitment needed. You're just going to go look at it and see what it's all about. Nobody is going to make you stay, make you give money, unless you walk in and you're like, I love this, I'm moving in, then, they would probably want you to sign a contract if you're moving in. So that is my challenge to you. So I really think if you go in with an open mind and just see what it's all about, it may not be right for you at all. It may not be right for you now, but at least so you have a plan for 1, 2, 3, 5 years down the road. You're not thinking of it as a, 1970s nursing home. You know that there are some amazing options out there, and it's much more than what you may be imagining. So that's what I have for you today on aging in style. So I hope this episode kind of gives you a new perspective on senior living, and I invite you to share it with your friends. And please tune in to the website each Friday. We have a new episode. It's Aging in Style. Of course, you can find it on all different areas where you get podcasts, but you can also find all of our episodes on my website, which is LoriWilliams-SeniorServices.com. And that's also where you would go to reach out to me and my team, send us a little note, and we would be happy to help you find a community near you to go take a look at. All right. So I hope several of you will accept this challenge. And thank you so much for listening, and tune in next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.